So at this point, I've spent around 25K in courses. Why did I decide to do that? Well, I had a pain. Like I had a big pain point at the end of the day that I wanted to solve, right? First of all, it was getting clients. The second one was so I could charge more money. The third one was because I was entering a new model. So really every time that I invested in courses, and that almost, I think like 23K figure is really across three main course purchases. And every time, right, that I purchased a course, like each course was around anywhere from 6 to 9K. Every time that I decided to purchase a course like this, I was in a huge amount of pain. Like, why do humans buy anything, right? Ultimately, they have pain. They believe that this person can solve the pain, so they decide to make a buying decision, right? I knew that if I wanted to really accelerate the time that it took me to learn things and not spend years and years without having a solution to the problem that I was currently facing, I would need to invest in people that had done what I was seeking to do and paid to learn from them as soon as possible, right? And always the people that I paid to learn from had authority, right? They'd already built trust with me and they had some degree of storytelling around what they were selling, right? Above all, I had bought into their story, and because of the story they had, they started off young, they built up their journey, right? They had the same pain point that I was trying to solve. They demonstrated how to solve it, they cracked it, and then they could scale properly. I bought into that story. I was watching their content, right? They had the authority, they already had the trust from my perspective, right? And I just knew that they were the person for me because of the fact that they had kept putting out this content, right? And I was already bought in, right? So it was really the content-based sales system that got me, right? So that was the main reason I decided to purchase these courses, because I knew it would buy me back a huge amount of time, save me a huge amount of pain, right? And I could either pay for things in two ways. I could pay in time, right? So I could pay 2 years trying to solve the problem that I was looking to solve, or I could pay in money, right? I'd much rather pay in money, especially while I'm still young. So what were the three main lessons I got from spending almost like 24K on SMMA courses? Well, number one was how to generate attention, right? So now I'm at the point where 2 years into running an SMMA, 2 years into when I first invested into any sort of program, generating attention, AKA booking meetings, is extremely easy for me. Like I can put a message together in 2 seconds that I know will book me meetings, right? Just because of the knowledge I have around my target market, the knowledge and the frameworks I know, right, that go into crafting a message that gets interest. It's become extremely easy. And as long as I can do that at scale, I can book meetings at scale, right? So it's really the frameworks. And obviously when you go into a course, like what you're looking for, when you go into any sort of solution, any program, you're looking for things that you can implement immediately and they can work. And yes, that's important. Yes, we all want that fast results, almost shiny object syndrome to some degree. But I think the main thing that these courses and these programs and the solutions that I've invested in have given me is just a way to think, right? Because like, it's true. It's like, if you blindly copy things, if you blindly copy strategies without knowing how they're going to work, it's like, yeah, you get fed for a day, like it might work for the next 2 weeks, but when it stops working, when it no longer works anymore, you're gonna have no idea why that's the case, right? If you learn how to think, if you learn how to truly understand how to implement certain things and how to build them for yourself because you have those frameworks in mind, honestly, you can feed yourself for a whole lifetime. And by feed yourself, I mean signing clients becomes very, very easy, because as long as you're not completely shit at sales, you know how to get interest. Right? So getting interest was a case of literally just knowing how to position my offer in a way that's appealing to my target market. So referencing their pain points, talking about outcomes, keeping it short, keeping it direct, not going back and forth for ages, sending each other Calendly links, adding manual times, things like that. Just there was a set amount of frameworks that I could use, and now I'm at a point where it's very, very easy for me to book meetings. The second thing was sales. So SMMA is literally just sales. When you're not selling directly, you're selling people on the idea of getting on a meeting with you. You're selling clients on the idea of staying with you. It's all just sales. It's sales, sales, sales. So if you're not good at sales, you're going to find it very, very hard to get any sort of results in SMMA, whether that's directly on sales calls or whether that's even booking meetings, even keeping clients, things like that, right? So the next thing was having a predictable way of selling to my prospects. All of the people that I had bought these courses from, right, they had already basically got me bought in to what they were offering through the content they had already made, because I already trusted them, I already liked them, I already knew them just because I'd watched so much of their content, right? So I saw how I could apply that to my own business, right? So it's part of the reason I'm making this content, not only to give back to people, but also because I know it makes my sales process a lot easier because people that get onto calls with me, I can send them this content, whether they come directly through my YouTube channel, whether they come from outbound, I can still send them videos like this to warm them up, to make sure that they know me, they like me, and sales becomes a lot easier, right? And it's not only the stuff that happens before the sales call, because every prospect that comes onto a call with you is going to have some sort of preconceived notion about who you are, what you offer, what you do, and they're already at some level of buying confidence, right, when they come into that call with you. If we can increase that level of buying confidence before they even get on the call, then you're already moving the needle before you've even spoken to them, which I don't know why you wouldn't do that, right? Not only did I understand that these people that I bought courses from were doing this massively and I wanted to implement that, but obviously when I bought their courses and when I bought the solution and I engaged in these things, they gave me exact strategies, right? So I had now had a system to predictably take discovery calls properly. So through gathering information correctly, pitching correctly, objection handling frameworks, all of these things that absolutely no way I would have worked out on my own. It would have taken me years and years to get a system like that. And I don't think I would have ever built a system like that because I probably wouldn't have even tried because it would have been so painful, right? So the biggest thing here was just it bought me back so much time. It accelerated the rate that I made progress and it made me money in the long run, right? If I had to put some money in and lose money in this very, very short term to make a hell of a lot more money in the long term, I really invest in myself to also gain access to communities like that and the connections that I've made from investing into things. Like I would pay that cost 100 times over, right? The third lesson that I learned was ultimately how to build out systems so I could take a step back, right? And really not be in the weeds in the day-to-day of the business. So I'm at a point now where we book a hell of a lot of meetings without me having to lift a finger, right? So we're booking like 50 meetings a month without me even having to do anything. I can take a step back. I know the system is predictable. I have a system in place. I have people in place that can run this system without me having to do anything, right? And that's a big part of SMMA. Like you're never going to be able to properly scale with you doing everything yourself, right? You need people in place. You need systems in place so you can take a step back and you can really focus on the things that are going to move the needle, because the skill sets and the activities that you're doing to get to 10, 15, even 20K a month are going to be very different once you really scale beyond that, right? It can't be you doing everything anymore. So from investing that amount of money in courses, I really understood how I could put things in place where I didn't have to work and I wasn't a complete slave to my business or my clients or anything like that. In terms of expectations versus reality, because I want to talk about that, because obviously whenever you're looking to buy into a solution or anything like that, you have a preconceived notion, like I spoke about, of how it's going to be. And the person that you're working with sets the expectations, they sell you the dream, they talk about what it's going to look like. And then it comes to reality where you engage in the solution, you really see what it's like. And in some cases, it can be very different to what you expected, right? So my advice when trying to find someone to help you, whether they're offering some sort of coaching solution, some done with you solution, a mentorship, is to really get them to like set it straight what it's actually going to look like, right? And give you as much insight into what the service is going to look like, what the product is going to look like, what the solution is going to look like, whether that's in the form of showing you what actually happens, whether that's in the form of showing you case studies, things like that. Really just building the evidence and showing you exactly what it's going to look like. The more detail they can go into is better, right? Because like when you're on that call, when they're pitching you, when they're walking you through what it looks like, it's very easy for you to just focus on the emotions and the things that you're being told, like all the outcomes, all the benefits, without you thinking logically, right? So try and get them to give you as much of an insight into what's happening as possible. And really do your research. Like there's a lot of good solutions out there. In terms of what we do, it's honestly very limited. There's not many people offering 2-to-1 direct mentorship with the level of support that we offer. But if you're taking the route of finding a course or something like that, then do your research, really drill deep into what you're doing. Make sure that, especially if you're new, it can be very easy to find people who are selling you the dream and making these huge claims or really selling the lifestyle. And then it turns out that their product is absolutely shit, not valuable. They haven't even been running this business model for the last 5 years and they make all their money in just content. Then really be careful there, right? It's very easy to get scammed and to get almost just baited out of this money because you're very inexperienced in this. So I would say do your research if you're looking to find a solution. Find something that's personal. Like courses have lost their charm when it's like, okay, there's 500 people in this course, there's 3 weekly coaching calls where you ask a question and it takes about 5 hours for you to even get a response. That's even if you do get a response, because there's a bunch of people asking stupid questions that take up the whole call anyway. So I would genuinely, if I was starting again, I would find a solution that was one-to-one based, where the people could give me direct support, direct feedback, and work alongside me, rather than just saying, okay, here's a bunch of outdated videos. We're gonna take a step back. Good luck figuring it all out yourself, and you can go from there. Like, that is the complete opposite of what I think a beginner needs, and even someone who's more advanced. Like, there's a reason why people who are very, very wealthy don't join programs or these like insanely high level masterminds, which in some cases they do, but what they're doing mainly is finding someone who's a level or two above them, learning directly from them, and really getting personal tailored support. Like, you never really hear of multi-millionaires joining these programs with hundreds and hundreds of people in. It's just illogical, and it's unfeasible for them when they know they could get so much more direct support working in a setting where it's one-to-one, it's two-to-one, and the support is there, right? Because it makes it so much more valuable. You can get tailored feedback by people who are 1 or 2 levels above you, and they're not tons and tons of steps above you where the things that they're telling you to do don't really apply because it's been such a long period of time since they've been in your position. But yeah, really finding someone that's just above you and really can give you tailored feedback because they have that time and they're not working with thousands and thousands of other people. So that was what I would say for the main things that I learned from spending all this money on courses. What I'd do again if I was to find another solution, what I'd do differently, and yeah, ultimately that's everything for this video. If you are interested at all in what it is we do, there's a link in the description. Don't worry, I'm not selling a program. I'm not flogging like a $997 course or some free training or a webinar or any of that bullshit. But yeah, completely up to you. Hopefully you found the video valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.